Sunday, 1950, and I'm dressed in a green dress that has its own petticoat and tiny pink little roses. I'm 6, and I have learned one of the longest Easter speeches to be said that day. When I rise to give my speech, I do so on a great wave of love and pride and expectation. People in the church stop wrestling. They seem to hold their breath. I can tell they admire my dress, but it is my attitude, bordering on sassiness, that they applaud. Naturally, I say my speech without stammer or pause, unlike those who stutter, or worst of all, forget. "Oh, isn't she the cutest thing?" frequently floats my way, and has so much sense, they add, for which thoughtful comment I thank them to this day. It was great fun being cute. But then, one day, it all ended. When Alice Walker was a child, she suffered a life-changing injury. Her disfiguring injury changed her whole personality. In time, with the loving support of her family, she was able to overcome her self-consciousness. But it took the unconditional love of her own child for her to love what she had once despised. Beauty, when the other dancer is the self, by Alice Walker. I'm 8 years old and a tomboy. Got a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, checkered shirt, and pants. All red. My playmates, pew, 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 pew. Are my brothers, 2 and 4 years older than I. Oh, we'll chase each other for hours, rustling cattle, being outlaws, and delivering damsels from distress. But then, my parents decided to buy my brothers guns. They're not real guns. They shoot BBs. Instantly, I'm relegated to the position of Indian. Now there appears a great distance between us. They shoot at everything with their new guns, and I try to keep up with my bow and arrow. One day, I was standing on top of a makeshift garage, peering out into the fields with my bow and arrow, when suddenly, I feel an incredible blow in my right eye. I look down just in time to see my brother lower his gun. Both brothers rush to my side. "If you tell," they say, "we'll get a whooping." "Here's a piece of wire," says the older brother, picking it up off the roof. "Say one end flew up and hit you." The pain is beginning to start. Yes, I'll say that's what happened. Confronted by our parents, we stick to the lie. I close my left eye as they examine my right. There is a tree that grows outside that climbs past the railing to the roof. It is the last thing my right eye sees. I watch as its trunk, its branches, and its leaves are blotted out by the rising blood. A week after the accident occurred, my parents find out what has happened. They take me to see a doctor. "Why did you wait so long to come?" he says, just staring into my eye and shaking his head in disbelief. This terrifies me, but it's really how I look that bothers me the most. Where the BB pellet struck my eye, there's this glob of whitish scar tissue. Now when I stare at people, they will stare back, not at the cute little girl, but at her scar. For 6 years, I do not stare at anyone, because I do not raise my head. A few years after the accident occurred, I asked my mother if I had changed much since then. "No," she says. "What do you mean?" I'm 8 years old, and for the first time doing poorly in school. We have just moved away from the place where the accident occurred. My new school is a former state penitentiary building. It is a large stone building, cold and drafty, crammed, overflowing with ill-disciplined, boisterous children. On the 3rd floor, there's this large circular imprint of some former partition that's been torn out. What used to be there?" I asked the girl next to me on our way to lunch. "The electric chair," she says. That night, I have a nightmare about the electric chair. I'm terrified of the school where all the students seem to be like criminals. "What's the matter with your eye?" they say. When I don't answer, they shove me, insisting on a fight. I After months of torture, my parents finally decided to switch me back to my old school. There's at least one teacher who loves me. She makes life bearable. It is her presence that helps me finally turn on that one child who consistently calls me names. One day I simply grab him by his coat and beat him till I'm satisfied. Did I ever imagine the anguish of never looking up? I'm 12 years old, and when family comes to visit, I hide in my room. My cousin Brenda comes to find me. "You still can't see out of that eye?" she says. "No," I say, and I flop back on my bed over my book. That night, as I do almost every night, I abuse my eye in front of the mirror. I rant and I rave at it. I tell it that I hate it and I despise it. I beg and I plead with it to clear up before morning. I don't pray for sight. I pray for beauty. I'm 14 years old and babysitting for my brother Bill. Understanding my feelings of shame and anger, he and his wife decide to take me to the hospital where the glob is removed. Almost immediately, I become a different person from the girl who does not raise her head. Now that I've raised my head, I have the boyfriend of my dreams. Now that I've raised my head, I have plenty of friends. Now that I've raised my head, schoolwork comes faultlessly off my lips like the Easter speech did. And I leave school valedictorian, most popular student, and queen, hardly believing my luck. You did not change, they say. I'm 27 years old, and my baby daughter is almost 3. Understanding my feeling, I've worried that she will realize that a mother's eye is different than other people's. Will she be embarrassed? What will she say? Every day she watches a show called Big Blue Marble. It starts off with a picture of the earth as it appears from the moon. It is round, a little battered looking, but full of light, with whitish clouds swirling all around it. One day she suddenly focuses on my eye. Something inside me cringes, getting ready to protect myself. Most children are cruel about physical appearances. I assume Rebecca will be the same. But no. She focuses on my eye. She even puts my face between her 2 little dimpled hands. Then, looking as serious and lawyer-like as her father, she says, "Mommy, there's a world in your eye." That moment, I realized, for all that it taught me of shame and ugliness, I did love it. That night, I dream I am dancing, whirling and joyous, happier than I've been in all my life. I am beautiful, whole,